you to Dr. Lucy. My name is Roshana and I am the representative of the group SQUADRON. In this video presentation, I'll be talking about the topic chosen for our post-year assignment entitled Unsustainable Development of Infrastructure, a case study on Project Perumahan Rakyat Termiskin, PPRT and Borneo Highway. Throughout this video, I will explain about the main points that we have included on our poster, specifically the context of the two projects and the development approach that we use to conduct these developmental projects. Furthermore, I will also compare the two approaches by focusing on their strengths and weaknesses. Before I start on my presentation, I would like to give a brief definition on unsustainable development of infrastructure. Unsustainable development of infrastructure is associated with the lack of strategic planning and consideration of environmental consequences in dealing with the resources for developmental projects, which often lead to generative waste and pollution that have harmful impacts to our ecosystem. In this regard, these development actors must be responsible in planning and managing the process in a development projects to avoid this becoming unsustainable in the long run and defeats the purpose of its intended objective. This definition sums up clearly on how unsustainable development of infrastructure happens.
Moving on to my first point, the Borneo Highway project and the top-down approach. The Borneo Highway is a road network on Borneo Island connecting two Malaysian states, Sabah and Sarawak, with Brunei and Kalimantan region in Indonesia. This highway was constructed to improve road connectivity from rural to urban areas and to accelerate the economic growth in East Malaysia. One of the main challenges faced in the progress and completion of this development project is the nation's politics. For instance, the previous 14th general election, which saw the historical change of government in Malaysia, affected on the progress of this development project. This is because the new government viewed the development project as a liability and redirected the funds to other development projects in the nation. The Borneo Highway was conducted based on the top-down approach. The top-down approach in development is often associated with autocracy. It is an approach in which development actors are likened to dictators, as they have complete autonomy in the planning and executing process of a development project. In our case study of Borneo Highway, there was no participation from the local community. This is because local community were not involved in the planning process, and this affects on their ability to voice out opinions which are more likely to be great of importance. Next, I will explain about our second case study, which is the Project Perumahan Rakyat Termiskin PPRT and the basic need approach. PPRT is a housing project initiated by the government to help the poor in getting a house. Besides that, PPRT provides financial assistance to help repair and rebuild the houses of the poor. PPRT also includes assistance to those who wish to build a house on their own land. PPRT falls under basic need approach. Basic need approach is one of the major approaches to the measurement of absolute poverty in developing countries. Basic need approach was introduced by the International Labour Organization World Employment Conference in 1976. Basic need approach gives priority and emphasis on meeting the basic needs to all the people, especially the poor, has come to be an important focus of rural development. Moving forward to my second last main point, that is the outcomes. The outcome that can obtain from the top-down approach is the Borneo Highway is that the deficiencies of environmental impact assessments for road projects increase the risk of environmental damage, social conflicts and litigation, which can lead to project delays, cost overruns or even project cancellation. As for the basic need approach, the underprivileged citizens who are benefiting from the PPRT view that this development project helps them significantly. This is because their basic needs of shelter are being met while enjoying a comfortable life. Finally, I will explain about the strengths and weaknesses of the two approaches. The greatest strength of the basic need approach is that it can identify allocation resources needed to help targeted community. Basic need approach also increase the chance of the targeted community to obtain affordable housing. Housing such as Perumahan Rakyat Termiskin (PPR) is mainly developed for the low-income group in society. For the top-down approach, their strength is swift implementation and utilization of material and human resource. This can improve employees' productivity and organizational efficiency. Net strength is uninformed objective and goals are shared by developmental actors. Ideas, opinions, and decision-making are merely come from developmental actors. Let's move on to weaknesses. The weakness of basic need approach is that the consumption boundaries are arbitrarily decided by developmental actors such as government, private corporation, and contractors. They also assume that the wants and needs of every member of the targeted community are equal. They will decide everything for the targeted community. For the top-down approach, their weakness is they fail to include the opinions and suggestions of the development recipients. Making a decision with more people is complex. Therefore, the ideas and opinions comes only from developmental actors. Lastly, top-down approach unable to fully control and monitor of the execution part, which involve many second developmental actors such as contractors. In conclusion, the basic needs and the top-down approach are related to the unsustainable development project of infrastructure that has been chosen. This is because both approaches can be applied as a framework to understand more about the main development issues in our country. Furthermore, both approaches have their own similarities and differences that make them exclusive to one another, as well as their strengths and weaknesses, which include their convenience in certain aspects of a development project. All in all, this poster has proven that based on the two approaches applied, any developmental projects will always have its pros and cons. It is very important for researchers to acknowledge that all theories and approaches have their own shortcomings and a dispute, which means development demerits will always be stressed. Therefore, effective measures for improvement and solutions are much needed in every aspect of development project in order to avoid unwanted circumstances to happen later on. Thank you.